Best of luck. Have a nice shift. If that's possible. Oh lord, it's these two. I forgot. I almost forgot.
Good sir. It was sir, wasn't it? Mother tells me you've been working your tail off around the stopple. Is that why I can't see your tail, perhaps? Anyhow, thanks to you, Father says we're ready to begin the X vacation. Isn't this all so exciting? Girl, you must remember to remain calm and composed. These caves are vast, their tunnels burrowing deep into the bowels of the land. Slow, steady, and circumspect is the order of the day. As we speak, a preliminary exploration team is surveying the tunnels to determine where we might best begin the excavation. We will await their findings before deciding on the best way to move forward. Understood, Father. I promise to be circumspect. Does that mean we can begin digging already? Dwarl Minnow, what news from the depths? Digmaster Kataro, I fear we encountered something rather unexpected. I fear that we may not be able to convince the excavation effort as quickly as we had hoped. Can't start digging? But why? What did you find down there? No sooner had we stepped through the entrance, our whiskers twitching in anticipation of the wonders that awaited, than did we see them, nasty creatures swarming in every nook and cranny of the caves. Most troubling development indeed. Ukitari are scribes, not warriors. Indeed, it was the presence of fearsome fiends and worse, blocking our way through the revel that kept us trapped for 100 years. Are we doomed to suffer a similar fate here?
I did defeat the Light Warden, you know.
The ally of Ronka and Bringer of the Night would fell those terrible beasts for us? I would like little more than to take advantage of your kindness, but I fear there is a rub. A rub? A rub. In our preliminary explorations of the stopple, we discovered that another ward seals off the tunnels below. A ward not unlike the one that barred the entrance, but with one notable and unfortunate
the
difference.
Basilisk just subscribed. We almost have a hippo baby.
It's a ward impassable to all but the servants of Dwan, namely the Qatari. Now, I fear we'll have to find our way to dispatch the beasts that have burrowed their way from the depths. But without Sir Madam Archon's aid, we'll be chewed up the moment we step in there, tails and whiskers and all. Squee! The great serpent, it speaks. Indeed, and yet it does not move. Till now we have had only to follow where it goes. This time, it appears we must fully grasp the import of his message. A message which, sadly, is beyond my comprehension. If only there were someone who... But of course, the son of Dwaddle! Son of... Do you mean that tall fellow who likes to wave his arms in the air when he talks? The very same. Arkham? It appears we will require your assistance once more. Might you be so kind as to see my boy safely as Slitherbow, that he might summon this Quinfort for us?
Get in the bag.
Would you kindly, Archon? Father and I would appreciate it ever so muchly and more. Come along, great serpent. No?
Aw. My favorite thing about the Namazu quests was how every time you had to, like, take the Namazu somewhere for a quest, they would joke about how terrible it was to be in your backpack. I wish more quests did that. Like, how are you getting where I'm going? I'm just in my backpack, obviously. But like, are you hanging out next to my rising table lamp? Next to my Mega Piranha? Where are you? Where are you? Whee! Quinfort. I have been informed I must request your insane attendance.
What's this you say? Fell beasts prowl in the tunnels at every turn? No doubt they are remnants of the shadows that wander the forests come to life. Demons come to suck dry the currents of aether that give the great wood life, reducing our home to a withered husk.
Hopefully you're doing okay and have not lost your mind to trying to catch up on your work. It could be that, or they could simply be nasty little brutes that crawled their way out from between the rocks. You know, like the ones around here.
Valid. Good, sir, madam. You know all these creatures too?
I do. Mother tells me. Yeah, I think you kept it somewhere in your ideas book. That's where you keep everything, right? Mother tells me that when our ancestors first came to Slitherbow, they were set upon by a swarm of ravenous creatures that crawled up from below. Fortunately, one of the elder priests managed to utter an incantation that drove them away. If you look closely at the walls around us, you can see glyphs carved in them. The same protective magic that saved our forefathers has been worked into the very walls around us. In a sense, the settlement of Slitherbow itself serves as a ward against the dangers that lurk beneath us.
Just so, Valen, and it is precisely words and incantation of this sort that I have made the focus of my studies of late.
I remain ever impressed with your knowledge, good sir, madams.
Can it be too much to ask if you could teach this incantation to the Great Serpent, that he might protect us in our expedition below? Discreet? What blasphemy do you speak, child? Do you think me, a humble servant of the wood, so brazen as to believe he could enlighten the divine protector itself?
Look, this isn't exactly my area of expertise, but it strikes me that there might be a simpler way to approach this. Why don't we simply have fashioned a talisman or two for them? You know, like the ones we've always used to keep danger at bay. We can craft a simple object to serve as a vessel, then Quinfort can mutter a few words and enchant it as he sees fit. Tradition dictates that the talisman be fashioned from materials indelibly connected to the bearer's home. Those of us who live in Slitherbow usually gather what we need from the City of Swamps, but for our Qatari friends, we'll have to look further east. Archon, your angling aptitude just might serve us well here. Why don't you head over to Mural's Tears and see if you can't fish up a shimmer shell? It's a sea-dwelling creature whose husk we often carry about to ward off danger. If you're in need of appetizing bait, I figure a fruit worm should suffice. Speaking of fruit worms, doesn't the way they wriggle and squirm remind you of... On second thought, never mind. And I shall immediately begin weaving an incantation specially tailored to protect our good friends from the sort of terrifying creatures that infest the caves and tunnels they seek to explore. Mwahahaha! A foolproof plan if ever there was one. Color? Mr. Carl, you can stay here with me in Slitherbow and help me collect the other materials I need. It'll be the perfect opportunity to introduce you to my fellow blessed. And once we have everything we need, let's meet up again at Hoppelstoppel. I want to test the effectiveness of the talisman for myself before we leave Chakarl and his friends on their own. No, black and white everything. Everything is in black and white. Color is too difficult, too complicated. It's up there. Wisdom of the Night. Oh. Okay. I gotta catch the fish, then do the hand-in thingy. Barking mad. Interesting. Can I fish from up here? I can. And it even tags it. Good. Oh, hey, look, I got the thing now. Man, that was quick. Uppies? I don't want to have to go around, just want to go over. God. I did all of my sketches last night in just Sharpie. The idea of having to, like, figure out color terrifies me. I still need to figure out Spark. Like, I need to go through my sketches and, like, figure out exactly what I do still need to figure out. Oh, there you are. We'll be able to find something suitable for making our talisman. Yeah, the thing you asked me to find? Yes, this should serve us quite well. Just give me a moment or two. I'll round up materials Jakarl and I gathered from the village and whip up something in no time. And our other here, and here, and here, then thread through this length of rope, and yeah, I should do it. It's a dream catcher. It's beautiful. This will let us begin the X-vacation in safety, you say? Not so fast. The talisman needs to be enchanted before it's of any use. As it is now, it's little more than a fancy little ornament. Well, Quinfort, this is a moment you're waiting for, isn't it? Mwahaha! Say no more. Stand back and bear witness as Quinfort, descendant of Twaddle, weaves an incantation the likes of which your eyes have never seen. Why do I have a bad feeling about this? Worry not, dear Valen. In truth, at first I was uncertain which of the many prayers I have memorized would serve us best. Traditional chant of the Knights Blessed. But wait! The Qatari are an ancient race, so perhaps this calls for an incantation from ancient Ronka. Long did I ponder. Choose poorly after all, and it could mean death and destruction for our friends, if not the forest itself. Fortunately, it was then that the Great Serpent came to me in a vision, enlightening me as to the precise words that will deliver us to salvation. Words which have been long been writ in the Gospel of Quinfort. You're going to enchant this talisman with ramblings from your dream diary? I really have a bad feeling about this. Do not be silly, Valen. The Great Serpent speaks through me, and I am but a vessel for his divine wisdom. Hark, it is precisely as it says in chapter 52, verse 5. Ad break. The goddess's claws stained cerulean, she did await the arrival of the stewards. The coming of the darkness marked a new dawn. A proud people returned to the wood where the egg once fell from high above. I don't think this is an incantation. O great serpent of Ronka, gifted to us by the heavens, hear the plea of the great sage's scions, and guide the children of Ronka safely to their ancestral homes. If this works, it's by sheer dumb chance. Oh, great serpent, do tell me, were my prayers heard? Scree! I've never heard an incantation be so inspiring. Your powers truly are something else, Master Quinfort. Oh, you are wise beyond your years, young Qatari friend. My knowledge is vast, my power is indeed prodigious, and it is more than an honor to wield them in service of your esteemed people. Prone to bouts of madness from time to time, Quinfort is an accomplished priest. The talisman should serve you well.
Splendid. Our excavation effort has been delayed for far longer than we can afford. Well, Chikal, this is the moment of truth. There's no telling what dangers lurk beneath us. Are you quite certain you wish to accompany me into the tunnels below? But of course, Father. Why else would I have come to this place with you? Together, we will unearth the secrets of our far forthers and reclaim our history. Very well. It is clear you do not take the task lightly. Perhaps you are coming of age after all. With that, I believe it is time we started digging. Let the excavation begin! Katari, go down the hall! So instead of climbing down the rope they've built, they just jump in sometime later. You make Mario look pathetic. Carl Norrell and Carl Kotal have safely returned from their preliminary investigations of the tunnels. My god. Can't you load me out of the ad break right next to them? What is this? Their incantation of the Great Serpent made manifest before us? Whatever could be the meaning of this? I must know at once. Gotta little hum it. If you could settle down for just a moment, Master Quintfort, I will explain in detail all I witnessed down below. Father and I found a stone. It was big and square and covered with all sorts of writings, just like in the legends. As my boy said, we did indeed find the stelae, or at least one piece of them. But remains? According to Qatari legend, the stelae comprised 4 perfectly square stones, stacked to form a massive pillar, which is to say what we have found is but one part of the larger whole. If that were not unfortunate enough, even the single stela we found has been badly weathered through the years. In many places the engravings are all but indecipherable. That is not all we found. Lying beside the shattered stone was several sad piles of bones. No doubt the remains of our once proud forefathers who carried the stelae down below. Shudder to think of their last moments. Torn apart by sin eaters as they hid away their legacy for safekeeping. Father and I thought to carry the stone to the surface, but in that moment, something jumped out and stood in our path. Scree! Oh, mine I used to be believed. The beheaded serpent that first accompanied our Qatari friend remains on the surface, which means we are graced by yet another incarnation of the Divine Protector. A third manifestation of the Great Serpent. Just how many of them are there anyway? At the very least, this is the only one we encountered on our expedition. Yeah, if it traveled here from somewhere to guide us in our efforts, it would not be unreasonable to assume that there are others where this one came from. In truth, it appeared and spoke to us just as we stood before the shattered stone, and I hope to believe it was conveying to us a message, just as its brethren guided us to these ancient tunnels. Chakarl and I pondered the matter, and we believe that we understand. The Great Serpent bids us to unearth what remains of the scattered and withered stelae, piece together our people's history anew with our own hands and minds. Let's see. Stones truly have been scattered and weathered by time. That's the best you could hope to do. Surely you must have been able to make out something from what remained of the stone. What chronicles of Eld were writ there? What we're able to make of the markings could be described thus. A mighty Ronsa wearing a crown, no doubt meant to represent the first emperor of Ronka, stood tall with a blade raised high above his head. Before him cowered a Qatari, one of our forefathers no doubt. The carving would seem to depict the most momentous occasion that was the first encounter between our peoples and the Empire.
and the implications could not be more clear. Doubtless our ancestors, ill-suited for battle, were conquered and subjugated by the might of Hrothgar. Under his yoke, would find new purpose as the stewards of history. No, you gonna stay up there for a while? Most fascinating interpretation, Father. But if I might be so bold, I saw the drawings quite differently. I do not believe the Ronkan Empire would be so cruel as to threaten the poor weak Qatari. No, I believe they found us vulnerable and at the mercy of the fearsome beasts of the forest. He slew the beast by his own hand, but friended our ancestors, giving us new purposes as subjects. Your optimism is admirable, my boy, but I fear that such a bright and cheery interpretation of events is unlikely at best. History is full of harsh truths from which we must not avert our eyes. But tales are still sung of the first Emperor's might and majesty to this day, are they not? I simply cannot fathom that he would be so cruel as to enslave our people. If you ask me, both theories seem reasonable. But if you intend to keep a record of history to pass down to posterity, you're going to have to choose one. Two conflicting theories of the past, one to be etched in stone and sung until the end of time, and the other destined to be consigned to the dust of the deep, dank caverns below. Truly, this is a turning point in the great tapestry that is the history of the Qatari. Yes, yes. At any rate, I believe we've done all we can here. Valid. I say valid. What are you so intently... She's watching something out the window. She's being incredibly combative and is swatting and biting at me if I go anywhere near her right now. And she's knocked the same light out of the window twice. I not think of insisting that my interpretation is the only valid one. Yet I cannot simply toss it aside in favor of my son's rose-colored view of the past. How absolutely, absolutely vexing. Scree! The great serpent, it speaks again. It does. This time its message could not be more clear. It believes that Archon, the Isle of Ronka, should be the one to weigh the options at hand and decide which version of history shall be inscribed upon the stone. Why me? Why do I have to make decisions? Scree! Qatari father and son have arrived. Conflicting interpretations of the events depicted on the statue. The bidding of the Great Serpent of Ronka, it has fallen to you to determine which version of history will be recorded. In order to continue with the Qatari quest, speak with either Qatari Nodal or Chakral Kodal. Choose the interpretation of history that you find most convincing. Your choice will affect not only the restoration of the Stella, but history as it will be told for years to come. Once you make your choice, you'll be unable to go back, so choose carefully. Furthermore, yet another serpent clad in curious armor has arrived at the Qatari camp. So that's Wisdom in the Night done. Rep up. Yeah, she's getting a little pointy. Set up talismans, free from the danger one agrees, the excavation smoothly. New quests, 3 additional. Wider selection of wares. I like the kid's opinion. Positive. Haller may have his reasons for thinking as he does, but I choose to believe in a brighter version of history. I'm quite certain that the Ronkan Empire was a benevolent man who protected our ancestors from fearsome beasts and imposed upon them a position of honor in their society. Surely you can agree. If you elect to vouch for Chakral Kodal's theory, the first stella will be restored to reflect his interpretation of history. Proceed and you'll be unable to view the stella as Qatral Nodal envisions it. The orders you received and the content of the quest to follow will be the same regardless of the choice you make. You are free to choose the version of history you find most compelling. Yeah, I like the kids' choices.
Well, thank you. I'm most glad to know that you are a cup half full type like myself. Can't help but feel my boy is too optimistic for his own good, and yet, if you chose to believe his theory, good madam, there is no reason why I cannot do the same. Long last, I can look upon the history of my people in all its glory, but our work is far from over. Pray continue to lend us your aid. Father and I will send her for our finest artisans. The work must begin at once.
I don't have a problem with her being in the window. The issue is that she was knocking over the lights. Where Stella has been restored, its engravings now clearly depict reflection to Carl theory of Malkin benevolence. Protected by the talisman fashioned for them by the knights blessed and heartened by rediscovering a piece of their heritage, stewards now pursue their excavation efforts with newfound zeal. Should you choose to continue to aid them in your cause. The history is subject to the whims of its recorders is an interesting touch. So, where the sun don't shine, a touch of home and mother's recipe. Okay. So we don't have any issues here. I've done all of these. These are all repeats. So let's head out, do our fishing. Basically, the issue I was running into when I was doing these off-stream was that at level 61 in the, like, I'm at 58. At level 61 in the job quests, like the fisher quests, you get access to something called spearfishing. And there's a couple of the dailies that require you to do spearfishing, which obviously I don't have it unlocked yet, so I couldn't do. So I'm going to do as many as I have, as many as pop up that are fishing, and then we'll do unlocking spearfishing and come back and do any that I have to do. Okay, here's one spot. Fishing. I didn't even... What? Can we catch something? There we go. You know what's odd? I did not see anything hook. Yeah, gotta back up. I know. And then... here. For the area ops. Also, if you feel like it at any point, you can catch as many of the targeted fish. They don't go away, so you can stockpile. to quickly hand in quests if you want to take the chance that they'll be useless. Because, I mean, day to day, what spawns? Completely random. It's not the right... It's not the right fish. Yups. There we go. I don't know how we're pulling what looks to be a crocodile out of the water, but so be it. Here's the last location, where we are looking for a robber crab. $180, so 4 days. 3 days with the double day. There's our robber crab. So now we can head back, turn these in, and see how many of our new ones end up being spearfishing. I mean, if none are spearfishing, then we just go and do them, and then we'll do spearfishing. But why was the ARR trial soundtracks so banger? Like, they're just, none of them are bad. They're just degrees of amazing. Though Shiva and Titan will remain my favorites. Sure, it is pretty damn good. Yeah, here's your fish. Double up! Here's this. Here's this. And then let's see, which of these are going to require spearfishing? We've got rares and poison. Solve our souls and rings of pattern. Odd.
Thanks to the protective enchantments of the Knights Blessed, we may carry out our exploration without fear of fiends. Of course, enchantments are wont to lose effect over time, and when that happens, we must be prepared to protect ourselves. To that end, I intend to concoct a potent poison, and would be most grateful if you could obtain an ingredient for me. Poison catfish is what I require, and it can be caught at Muriel's Tears with a fruit worm on your hook. A single creature should be suitable for our purposes. Okay, that's fishing from Prayers and Poison. Solve our souls. Underground caverns can be frightfully dangerous, you know. The workers are constantly tripping over and grazing their snouts and whatnot. Thankfully, the V's were kind enough to share a recipe for a salve that works wonders for scrapes and cuts. If you're not terribly busy, I was wondering if you'd help gather some of the necessary ingredients. For now, I just need a piece of pond frond, which grows in the Lozado. It's rather difficult to find, but a fruit worm will lead you right to it. By all accounts, they're drawn to the smell. Gather. Katari are experts at weaving cloth bags and so on, which we decorate in the traditional manner using various colors. With so many of us preoccupied with excavating the caves, we've had little time to gather the raw ingredients for producing the dyes we need. Or an altruistic volunteer to bring me a spiral shell. I think a reward of some sort would be in order. Or said volunteer to use fruit worms as bait. I'm sure they'd snag one in a jiffy. Okay, so we've got catch, gather. Gather's the one I'm not sure of. But looks like at least 2 of the 3 are definitely fishing. We've got Mural's Tears, Mural's Regret, and the Lazadal. Are you? These are very useful. I don't think they started showing up until I had discovered the particular fishing hole. But this would be Mural's Regret. Gotta remember to back up so we go out of fishing before we try to mount. And then this is Mural's Tears. Then we try to figure out what it means by gather. Because it mentioned having a fruit worm. There's that. Go to 3 down. Okay. You can't see it, but it did say mark for quest detected. Okay, apparently we just fish up pond fronts. Got it. So that was the simplest version of today. Is this coming along? Okay, good. That would mean that that's done through Stormblood. So at some point we're going to have to do the delivery system here. I expected them to be in there somewhere. Please for your turn, good madam. Were you successful in procuring the ingredient I requested? Splendid. Thanks for your kind cooperation. Lest you wonder, the poison works by robbing fiends of their movement. Applied to dart tips, it won't slay outright, but it will afford us an opportunity to retreat to safety. Of course, I pray that our people wouldn't need resort to such measures at all. May merciful Dawn ever bless us and keep us safe from harm. Salve our souls. I can tell by the spring in your step you've met with some success. Come along then, let's see what you brought me. Splendid. This, I'll have a fresh batch of ointment ready in no time at all. I cannot help but feel that in this case, prevention would be better than a cure.
My stream with 4
Perhaps
viewers.
if the workers could refrain from injuring themselves at every given opportunity, there wouldn't be such high demand for the stuff. Till then, I may have need to call in your talents again.
Just having a nice fun day of playing FF14. Sundays!
You have something for me by any chance? I'm dying to see it.
I'm dying for you never to make that joke again.
A superlative effort indeed. With this, we'll be able to bring a touch of Ronkan elegance to our textiles. Patterns with which we adorn ourselves come from their ancient culture, you see. Those that feature a pair of straight parallel lines represent harmony, whereas spirals are a symbol of the never-ending cycle of nature, for example. Perhaps you would consider wearing some of our traditional garments yourself? I think you'd look rather fetching in one of our hats.
Thanks, but no thanks. Let's see. Vendor. I should check if there's anything fun at the vendor. The Helmeted Serpent of Ronka. Yes, please. And then it's mostly materia. Okay, let's unlock you. Despicable You 2. Does that requiring a certain number of... Ah! Coffee to fuel your day of cleaning. Best of luck on that.